As you all know, the Oscars is coming up March 12th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, and wherever it is else on the Pacific Time, it's finally here. And the animated feature film categories are The Sea Beast, Marcel the Talking Shell, with shoes on, Puss in Boots The Last Wish, Turning Red, and Pinocchio, the Netflix one, not the horrible one. And I'm going to be covering each movie, and today is my final review on Puss in Boots The Last Wish. I think I've talked about this movie way too much, and it's about time I give my final review and why I personally think it deserves the Oscar. Now before we start, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, because I really do love this movie, and I will be covering each movie in its own separate thing. Pinocchio's getting a video, Turning Red's getting a video, and Marcel and the Sea Beast will be getting their own separate thing. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and let's get started. Now, Puss in Boots The Last Wish, I've talked about this movie many times, and it's just, really is just a great movie. Puss in Boots The Last Wish, it really does, it utilizes something DreamWorks has never ever done before, and it's with this new animation style that blends 2D and 3D animation. It's becoming a common trend. It all started with Spider-Verse, then Arcane tried to do it, and Arcane is just such a great go. Go check that out, it's an amazing show. Then it moved on to Mitchell vs. the Machines on Netflix. That movie is also amazing. I just wish it came out in theaters. That deserved to be in theaters. That was just an amazing movie. And now, Puss in Boots The Last Wish is even following in the same direction. It's like Spider-Verse had such an amazing impact on the animation industry, and so many companies are starting to rethink, and you know what? Let's try this. This is something new. This is something fresh. Because all these animation studios are starting to become so realistic with their animation, it's genuinely scary. I'm looking at you, Pixar. Soul, that came out all the way in 2020, looked so realistic to New York that it's genuinely scary. So, it was a breath of fresh air to blend the styles together. And if you could really consider it, Klaus, the movie that the Christmas movie that dropped on Netflix, kind of did follow in the same footsteps. It blended 2D and 3D animation. And DreamWorks saw this, and funny enough, during production, this was supposed to be a fully fledged 3D animated film, but then Spider-Verse came up, and people from the Spider-Verse team actually came over to DreamWorks and worked on this movie. And that is why you see the movie you see today, that everyone's talking about, and most of you have seen. I think it's been like 2 months since I said you needed to go see this movie. So if you haven't gone and seen it, what are you doing? This movie is like probably about to leave theaters soon. So watch this movie while you still have the chance, and if you don't feel like going out to a theater, watch it wherever you can. Trust me, you're not gonna feel like you wasted your time. Now, the movie itself is just perfect. The original title for the movie was Puss in Boots and the Nine Thieves. Now, honestly, I don't know what that plot was gonna be. I really don't know where the story was gonna go on that one, but honestly, after the first Puss in Boots released, everyone really thought the movie was just mediocre. Some people actually thought it was good. To me, I always thought it was just okay. It's a movie that exists. But personally, I was just like, it's not anything great until I rewatched it again. And you know, I see what the film was trying to do. And you know what? It's better than Shrek the Third and the last Shrek movie. It's better than those two. And with this, it really was a pointless sequel back then, but there are so much to go with the world of Shrek, and it's starting to broaden out, and the Shrek universe is back after almost 10 years. I think it's more than 10 years. And it came back in such a grand way. Puss in Boots The Last Wish was following a new story regarding the Last Wish, the wishing star. And I think tackling death in this story was perfect. It's a very deep topic, yes, for an animated movie. Not saying kids movie, because it's not a kids movie. It's an animated movie. It's a medium, not for kids. And it's just like, I'm surprised they tackled this, especially in a Shrek movie. I never expected a Shrek movie to tackle such a topic like this, but I'm so happy they did, because it really was a wake-up call to Puss in Boots, because he's supposed to be this fearless hero, and sometimes arrogant, and not even appreciating any of his lives. And then they need the driving force to make him realize that he should not be wasting his lives and appreciate the one life he has. And that is where death comes in. And whoever came up with this character and said, you know we should scare Puss in Boots into going, appreciating his lives? Death. Death itself. People just thought this was going to be the big bad wolf. And to all the people saying, oh, he's not the big bad wolf, he's in Shrek, what are you talking about? In the advertisements, they literally called him the big bad wolf. I feel like they tried to just use that name and just try to hide it as best as they could, because they didn't want to, it was a surprise reveal towards the end of the movie, that this guy was Death. He was not to be messed with. And I'm so happy they kind of hid that feature. I didn't think he was Death. In the trailers and everything, we just thought he was some very cool wolf dude, and that was it. But once we first saw him on screen, the first scene we saw him with Death, chef's kiss. I still think about this scene to this day. It's just such an amazing scene. Starts off in a bar. Puss in Boots is sitting down, contemplating why the doctor is telling him why he should retire, and still has that mindset of keeping the legend alive and being this fearless hero. Then Death shows up. Puss in Boots just laughs it off, thinking that he'll defeat him, it's anything new, and then it scares him, immediately realizing that he's met his match and on his last life, and Death makes him run away, almost killing him in that moment. And just the fact that the way they did it, making him bleed, not fully showing it obviously, still isn't a PG movie, the way they did it, panning to his eye and the blood slowly running down his eye, was just the perfect way to show true fear, and actually was way scarier than actually like showing it on the top of his head. So it was just perfect. I'm so glad they did that. And continuing on with that, we have the other characters, which I'm so glad they put into the movie. The movie kind of did slow down once we got to the little cat nursing home, but if it wasn't for that, we probably would have never met Perrito, which is an amazing character. I'm so glad they added him into the movie, and I really do want to see him in future Puss in Boots and Shrek movies. He needs to stay. Perrito is amazing. But that's that's really the only point in the movie where the movie kind of slowed down, and I was like, okay, I think we've been here long enough. I think it's time for us to leave. And eventually we did get to that, and then we have the next character, Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Now, it's almost like when the Shrek movies always give these fairy tales like a glow up and really just turn them into badass characters. It's really crazy. But this time it was no different. Goldilocks was a lot more grown up. The Three Bears looked menacing, all of them. And they're a crime family. And they were also after the wish. And Puss in Boots finds out about this, and it's all three of them's goals to get the wishing star. And I feel like Goldilocks' mini arc, even though it was kind of the weakest out of the arcs, it still was pretty impactful. Goldilocks wanted a true family. She didn't tell the bears about that because, actually, technically, when you really think about it, every character in the movie revealed their wish. So technically, it was really impossible for them to get their wish. If you really think about it, Puss in Boots revealed his wish to get his 9 lives back. Kitty Softballs revealed her wish to have someone to trust her. Also said that out loud. And Goldilocks and the Three Bears Goldilocks also revealed her wish as well. So technically, either way, they weren't getting their wish, if that was how the rules really worked, if they revealed it. But continuing on, speaking of that, we did meet Kitty Softballs again, which her design I think was the most drastic from the original. It was a really, like I said, all the characters had their glow-ups in this movie, but the design's change I'm so glad they did that. It probably wouldn't have been as great if the designs didn't change. And her arc was also, it fit in with Puss in Boots as well. She still wanted Puss in Boots by her side, but she wanted to trust him again. And in the point in the story where Puss in Boots still is kind of having that idea of him being the fearless hero that everyone thinks that he should be, when it's not. He needs to appreciate his one life that he has. And it kind of culminates all in the finale. It's just a perfect cake that's been built up over this entire movie. It's just baking and baking over this 1 hour and 40-minute runtime, and it's just perfect by the end. I really don't have any problems with the finale of the movie. And Perrito's storyline, which was a mini one also, but it just shows how much of a kind and sweetheart of a character he truly is. He was thrown in a sock and thrown back into the river and plays it off as it was nothing. Just how it was a joke and just a prank. They were just playing around. And he didn't want to wish in the first place. He just wanted friends. He just wanted to be by Puss and Kitty Softpaw's side. And it's just like, oh my god, this character is just so precious. And that's why I really do want to see him again. I want to see all of them again, which we are by the ending of the movie. And Death, on the other hand, people say either two options why he went after Puss in Boots. He genuinely actually wanted to kill him and get rid of his last life. Or two, the whole point was to teach him a lesson. Personally, by the end of the movie, I genuinely do think that Death actually wanted to kill him. And because he was pretty pissed at the end when he didn't get that chance. But then he respects him and realizes that Puss in Boots realized he needs to appreciate his life. And the finale was just perfect. And I didn't even get up to the best villain in DreamWorks that we've gotten in a while. Jack Horner. This is the first time where the villain actually in an animated movie was just pure evil. In most animated films we've been getting lately, they've been either had some sort of sad motive or broken, they're just broken people, or they're just redeemable by the end of the movie. But Jack Horner? Nuh-uh. He is unredeemable, relentless, evil, malicious, all the other words that describe bad, he's in this movie. And it's just like, it's a breath of fresh air. It's like, okay, this is something new that we haven't gotten in a long time. And I think that's what most people love about him, is that he's irredeemable. He's not a character that can be redeemed. He straight up kills characters off screen. Like it's nothing. He really does not care about his crew. Or even the little bug that was on his shoulder. He only really kept them around just because he packed a little too much. And he's the perfect villain. He is a villain that I think more animated films should follow. Just make a villain that's irredeemable. Just, not every villain needs to be all happy and goody-goody by the end. It just doesn't have to be. The movie crafts villains perfectly. It balances everything. And Death, by the end of the movie, have their final fight with Puss in Boots, perfect. The animation, when the frames drop, you know that's when you know you're watching an amazing scene and the battle's gonna be great. And it was a pretty short one. You really can't beat Death, it's just, you can't. And I see, it's so funny, all these people putting up their, like, shorts online about different characters that can beat Death, but it's Death. You can't beat Death, you can't beat him. So, the battle ended very quickly, but Death realized that Puss in Boots had appreciated his final life, and left him there. And the chilling line that we would meet him again, which he would, once Puss in Boots actually does kick the bucket. And it's just like, I don't think we need to see Death again. I'm gonna be honest with you, I really don't think we do. Some people want to, but I think he served his purpose in this movie. If they brought him back, it would really just be dragging it on. Unless Death appeared when another character was dying. Like, I'm sure Jack Horner, if he's really dead at the end of Last Wish, yeah, Death met Jack Horner, probably. But it's just perfect. It really is. It caps off the whole movie. Puss in Boots, Perrito, and Kitty Softpaws all having their arcs completed. And it's just, like I said, it's a cake that's baking over the entire movie, and it's a perfect cake. Wouldn't change a single thing about it. And even when the DVD released, there was a few deleted scenes where I'm so glad they took it out. You can go watch them for yourself. The scenes were kind of dumb and stupid, and I'm kind of glad they got rid of them. One of them was a pee joke that I'm so glad they got rid of that. It was very, very bad. And it would have weighed the movie down a little bit for me, and it probably wouldn't have, just that one scene probably wouldn't have given it the praise that so many people are right now. But it's just such an amazing movie. It's crazy. The movie ranked up $430 million. It is a success. People are saying it's the least grossing Shrek movie. Yes, it is. But still, for animated movie terms, this is great. And everybody loves this movie. And I think all these elements of just a perfect story is enough for it to win an Oscar. It's perfect. There's not a single problem I have with this movie. It's just all around good. I haven't run into someone that's hated this movie. I just haven't. And I feel like the Academy needs to realize what this movie is what it kind of stands for, and just, it's what an animated movie should be. And that's why I think it deserves to win the Oscar. It has competition. Honestly, I'm really hoping Turning Red doesn't just automatically win it, because people are saying, as soon as a Disney movie enters the Oscars, that's when everyone's in trouble. Pinocchio also has a chance. It's a really highly animated film. The film took 1,000 days to complete. So that's a pretty high contender. I will be covering both of those movies too. The Sea Beast and Marcel with the Talking Show were also pretty good contenders, but I don't think they're really gonna take the cake on this one. It's really only been Turning Red, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and Pinocchio winning at the Annies. Currently the Annies is going on, and they're winning awards like crazy there. I really want to see how this Oscar turns out. Personally, I am rooting for Puss in Boots: The Last Wish to win the Oscar, so I'm just really excited for when this happens. Thank you guys for watching this video. This is my definitive Puss in Boots: The Last Wish video. It is definitely one of my favorite DreamWorks movies of all time, and I'm so excited to see how this movie does and where the franchise goes, and it's just, I'm really excited for the Oscars. Hopefully this doesn't give it immediately to Turning Red. But what do you guys think? Who are you rooting for at the Oscars? I'll be covering Turning Red and Pinocchio over these next few weeks, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace out, everyone.